The story of Rodney Hinton, a father's vengeance 24 hours after his son was killed on camera in Cincinnati by a police officer. Shout out to Family TV. I might be skipping around, so go to his channel to watch the full thing uninterrupted if you want to. Links in the bio.
Nobody wins when the family feels, but my
News today. Cincinnati police sharing new details about a chase that led to a suspect being shot and killed by police over in East Price Hill.
The mayor and Cincinnati's police chief sharing body camera video of the incident.
This all unfolded very, very quickly. We're talking about 6 seconds, 6 seconds from the time that officer got out of his vehicle until he shot and killed that armed suspect.
Give you an update on an incident that you're aware of, I'm sure happened earlier this afternoon, approximately 1 p.m. We had an auto accident at Martin Luther King, Burnett Woods Drive, where a Hamilton County deputy was struck. He was outside his vehicle conducting traffic enforcement. He was struck by a vehicle. It saddens me tremendously to make you aware that he has since passed.
All right, fam. I'm going to need you to try your best to hold your opinion to the end. This a lot, and I'm going to say this out the gate. None of us can't truly fathom losing our child until it happened. Now, the situation we talk about today is less than 24 hours old. Today, we're going to Cincinnati. We're talking about a man, a dad, who decided to take matters in his own hands. Less than 24 hours before his situation, his son was gunned down by authorities, which we'll later check out and play body.
It don't sound like a situation where nobody's going to win in the end.
Cam footage. This dad decided to take matters in his own hands and took the life of a police officer the next day. Today we go over this story, go over the details, see what truly happened, pay our respects, and see where we stand today. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. A Hamilton County Sheriff's
Stop right now and go to subscribe to his channel. Good content, great content.
deputy has died after being hit by a car driven by the father of a man who was killed by Cincinnati police the day before. Cincinnati police chief said during a news conference that the sheriff's deputy, whose identity was not released, was hit by a car being driven by the father of an 18-year-old Rodney Hinton. The crash happened around 1 p.m., May 2nd, 2025. The crash come a day after police fatally shot Hinton in East Prince Hill during a car theft investigation. Here's the facts. You see, the crash occurred around 1 p.m., just a few hours before the beginning of graduation ceremonies for the University of Cincinnati. It happened near the corner of Martin Luther King Drive in the CUF neighborhood, north of University of Cincinnati's campus. The deputy
RIP to that officer, straight off the bat.
He was outside of his vehicle, operating at a traffic light, when a car driven by Hinton's father, Rodney Hinton Jr., entered the intersection and struck them. The deputy and Hinton's father were transported to the hospital in critical condition. The deputy later died. May he rest in peace, and love and condolences to his family. Traffic on Martin Luther King Drive was closed for several hours after the crash. The road reopened shortly after 6 p.m. Now, though the deputy name has not been identified, authorities say he recently retired from Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and was working a special detail by directing traffic.
Damn, that's even sadder. So far, this man's son had a gun on him and stole a car and ended up getting killed by a deputy. And his father killed a random deputy. It's not even
for the
active
graduation.
No more.
Quoting, the officer was just out doing his job, end quote. 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. was arrested and charged with aggravated murder. So now we got that squared away. Let's go back 24 hours. On May 1st, 2025, the day before the fatal crash, Cincinnati police went to an apartment complex in East Prince Hill after learning a stolen vehicle was found there. 4 suspects, who police believe stole the car, took off running into the woods, some in different directions. One officer chased 18-year-old Rodney Hinton, who was seen holding a firearm. Allegedly, the officer called out twice that Hinton had a firearm, but the suspect tripped but continued to run between 2 dumpsters with the firearm in his hand before he encountered another officer. The other officer was pursuing someone else when the armed suspect emerged from between the dumpsters. The body cam footage, which you'll later check out, showed the officer fired 45 rounds at the suspect as he ran into the officer's direction. But here's the huge concern here. The officer said in an interview that the suspect pointed a firearm at him, but that allegation can't be confirmed because the body cam footage was blurred as he was running. But check it out.
Yesterday morning, following a report of a stolen vehicle, Cincinnati police officers were involved in a shooting in East Price Hill that resulted in the death of one man. I'm here with Police Chief Teresa Thigi, Councilmember Scotty Johnson, City Solicitor Emily Smart-Warner, and Assistant City Manager John Brzezina. We as a city take the loss of life extremely seriously in every circumstance. It is always a tragedy, and it's a tragedy here today. And the processes we have in place because of the collaborative agreement are here to ensure transparency and clarity as we move forward. At the top, I want to thank our police department and all the first responder investigation.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Before I start with the presentation itself, I want to say, when an incident like this one that happened yesterday, situations every day to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. When this happens, the outcome is almost always tragic. No one wins, and everyone involved is affected. As I review the sequence of events from yesterday, you'll see exactly how rapidly these things evolved. And it will permanently... Warsaw Avenue is down here. This is the long driveway.
Wait a minute. I can't hold on. So what y'all telling me, if I seen this story from Facebook. So what y'all telling me is that people are upset and say that this man is justified in striking down a random officer because his son stole a car, ran from police, continued to have the pistol, the loaded gun in his hand as police are pursuing him. And let's say it's 100% fact that he didn't point it at him. I don't even blame the officer for saying he pointed at him because he know the climate. He can't just say, "Oh my God, I turned around, I seen this kid with this gun in his hand, and I know what he did gonna do. I panicked. They already running from us. They showing aggression, and I thought I didn't even have time to think. I just shot him." It's a sad situation, but to crucify this officer because he may not have pointed at him, he knew in his mind over and over again, okay, there's a kid out here with a loaded gun. There's a kid out here with a loaded gun. It's getting called in. One of these kids got a loaded gun. And as you know it's not the one you chasing, you running. You know it's not the one you chasing. You can see his hand, so you're like, all right, cool. And then you run into another one coming out of the bush, and you look at his hand, and he got that loaded gun, and oh, my God. You're like, oh, my God. Wait, hold on. This one going over here. This one. What if he got a gun? Come on. And then you got... Come on. You think he justified with killing an officer for the mistakes of his son? Come on. If you believe that, you might be moralist. This is what we come to the cave for, to talk about stuff like this. This is exactly what the cave is for. You got to be crazy if you my skin tone or darker or lighter, I guess, if you just black, a black American, and you think that you should ride over this. You better check yourself. You probably the same type of person that believes that you should shoot somebody because they stepped on your shoes or because they disrespected your dead homies. They dead, so you need to protect them. Whatever happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. We forgot about that. Now it's like, you a gang member? Now it's like, oh, yeah, words could hurt you. We gonna hit you. We gonna DP you, so you better fight. Somebody call you a hoe, you better shoot them up. That's not madness. Anyway.
Goes up a hill. Where the incident occurred is at the dead end of the parking lot back here. You'll see vehicles there now. You'll see a photo. The stolen car that we're going to talk about was backed into a parking spot back there. As you can see, this is a stolen Kia. It was stolen out of northern Kentucky yesterday. You can see we have two uniformed cars there. Prior to those uniformed cars arriving, we had 2 undercover cars that pulled into that dead end, saw the vehicle. They backed out. They saw that there were individuals inside the vehicle, so they backed out and let the uniformed cars make the approach, which is the tactically sound decision to do. The cars are positioned the way the officers are trained. We are trained to use our vehicles as cover from any threat. That's what those officers did with the cars at that time. This is body-worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! On your right! On your right!
Oh,
He's got a gun!
So just to give you an idea, we have the 2 uniformed cars, we have 2 officers, there's 4 individuals in the stolen vehicle. All 4 individuals get out and start running, some in different directions. So officers decide which individual they're going to pursue. One officer decides to pursue the individual who we now know had a firearm in his hand. The other officer pursued another occupant that fled from the vehicle, and that'll be significant here in a moment when you see. So this is a still image. Again, I'm going to step out front. The car is parked over this way, okay? They are chasing the individual. So officer number 1 is chasing this guy right here, okay? This is the guy we ultimately end up shooting. The other officer who actually fires the shot on this individual is chasing a different individual further out this way, in this direction, okay? As this officer is chasing him, he sees a firearm in his hand, and he yells, "Gun, gun," he's got a gun. This individual slips, trips, whatever, falls on the concrete right here. Other officers that were also there say in their interview, they heard the firearm hit the concrete. They heard the metal from the firearm hit the concrete. This individual gets up, still has the firearm in his hand, and continues to run through the dumpsters. Go ahead, Bobby.
Why did he drop the firearm right there?
So these are some still photos. This is the officer who originally saw him with the firearm in his hand, calling it out. He runs through the dumpsters. This officer knows that there's another officer here that is going to ultimately encounter him when he comes through the dumpsters. So he makes him aware of that. He shouts out to him, "On your right, on your right." He's on your right. And that's where this individual comes out from between the dumpsters. This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene.
He's good! Get the fuck down!
This is the firearm that was recovered at the scene after the individual was shot. This is what he had in his hand while the officers were chasing him. It's just a photo of it here at Criminalistics. Remember I told you he fell on the concrete and the officers said that they heard the metal hit the ground? There are 3 spots on here where this gun has scratches on it. We believe those occurred when he hit the ground with the firearm.
What type of firearm is that, Chief?
Semi-automatic. I don't know the make and model. This is a second. Sorry, Bobby, can you go back 1 frame, please? This magazine was in the firearm. That's an extended magazine, so it holds more rounds. Go ahead. This is a second magazine that was located in his sweatshirt pocket, his jacket pocket. And that is the magazine from that second magazine. This is another firearm that was located inside the stolen vehicle. This is a firearm that was also stolen out of northern Kentucky sometime yesterday, early yesterday morning. Approximately, we believe, based on timelines, this was stolen from a vehicle in northern Kentucky, and then they went on to steal the vehicle that's involved in the incident. So because we are still attempting to 100% verify the individual's identity, the individual who we shot, we're going to list him as John Doe until we can 100% verify that for you. Yeah. The other 3 individuals that were in the car all ran. This was an extensive search for these individuals. I don't know if anybody's familiar with 2500 Warsaw. It is steep terrain, both directions from that parking lot, heavily wooded. They ran into that area in different directions, and we play as this gentleman.
Oh, he looked dead.
We still have another person we're looking for. We are attempting to positively identify him, and the individual was shot 6 seconds.
So he ran through here, right through these dumpsters, and the officer yelling, yo, to your right, because the other officer was coming. He could have dropped that gun. Come on. Are y'all going? The people that's for this or that think the officer got it wrong, is it because he shot too many times? I get it. I would like for them to shoot once, 2, and then see, but the nerves don't work like that. That flight or flight that officer feeling don't work like that. He worried about the kid getting shot. Now, even if he wasn't going to shoot, now he got shot, once or twice, he might turn that gun on and say, fuck it, I'm going down. I'm going to take an officer with me. So I get why they fired so many times.
6 quick seconds.
6 seconds.
The officer's responsibility didn't end there. They did very admirably trying to save this gentleman's life by
they tried to save his life,
administering different variations.
We've seen times where they don't, and then they look like you like, damn, help him now. Okay, help him. But if she said they did,
medical aid until the fire department responded. And this is the, you can see the medical debris, and then this is where the fire. What that leaves us with is a very blurred image, unfortunately. However, based on the officer's interviews, the officer who did discharge his firearm said that when the individual came out between the dumpsters, he had the firearm in front of him. It was in like a bladed position, and it was pointed at the officer. And he felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm.
Which probably is... I can see that because, man, he just falls, and then he gets up to start running. He might naturally bring it up to here and come through there like this and then look at the officer. He like, oh, he got it pointed at me. Even if he ain't mean to, because he ain't got no way to know that the officer's right there because it's the garbage can. And he falls and picks it up and probably got that gun right here, like tucked to his chest, like, oh, trying to keep his balance. And then he just, unfortunately, there was an officer right there.
We believe 4 or 5.
And hit him?
We believe twice.
Oh, so you got, see? So that officer was so scared, he fired 4 or 5 shots. Only 2 hit him. I mean, the dude moving, so.
And I do want to clear up, based on information that we received, the individual was struck in the chest. It exited out the back. Ooh. He was struck in the arm. We believe it went through his arm and into his side. So those were the 2 rounds that hit him.
There was no indication that he fired his gun?
Correct. No indication. But I would like to add a caveat. We do not expect the officers to wait until they're fired upon before they feel the necessity to fire.
Yeah, that's fair.
What's the standard protocol for how many times an officer, when someone else is pointing a gun at them, how many times an officer should fire upon?
They are trained
to
stop the threat.
So there's no standard number of times to shoot?
No. No, until they feel their life is no longer in danger.
So I'm going to go back to the original question. So, Chief, would it be standard protocol to shoot a suspect if they are armed with a handgun and running if the firearm were not threatening the officer directly?
Yeah. So this is where we have to go to the state of mind of the officer at the time. What are they seeing, feeling, hearing? If they feel like their life or somebody else's life is in danger, they have a responsibility to stop that threat. So I can't answer how.
There's no way that that officer knew that, like, okay, he coming out, okay, and then he came at that angle and he's right there. There's no way. Just like there's no way for that kid to know that it was an officer there. He might have dropped the gun if he knew it was an officer there. Or maybe he was like, or whatever, and it looked like I don't know. You play fuck games, you get fuck prizes. You got to teach your kids better than that. Drop the gun. Why would you run with the gun? Even if you run with the gun, I guess throw it away, bow, so they can't find it or something. You running with it? None of them shot him in the back. It was that one officer that was already in the front. I could see if the officer from the back shot him, going between them, I'm like, okay, cool, he shot him in the back. He wasn't in a threatening position to you. But the one coming, I'm sure that kid looked at that officer, even just to see, like, oh, he ain't about to catch me, I'm running this way. He looked at that officer, and he might have brought that gun up. If he right-handed, he might have brought that gun up to that side. And that officer said, oh, shit, if you're willing to go this far, how far is he willing to go? You running for police officers with your gun out, and you just failed, but you still got the gun in your hand. What you about to do with that?
Every situation should be resolved. It's based on the officers, and some of that includes their training, their experience, their tenure, things like that.
So the officer says that he saw the suspect point the firearm at him.
Yes.
Does the video and or other officer testimony back that up?
I'm not going to get into that now. You saw the video. This is what we have to work with because it is an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to GPS.
And do you know if any of the, I know we haven't identified the man who
stolen maybe a couple hours later. There you are. We do. This is a potential outcome when you interact with police and you are armed with a weapon, whether
Absolutely.
It's an edged weapon, a firearm, or if
you got to teach your kids better. If you don't think this okay, what the officer did, you probably the problem. There's your sign.
Determine a different course of action for what was supposed to be a glorious day for many. What is significant also to know about this auto accident, as you know, we had a critical incident yesterday in the city of Cincinnati, an officer-involved shooting at approximately 9 a.m. yesterday morning. There is a connection between these two incidents. The driver of today's vehicle that struck a deputy has a family relationship with the 18-year-old that we shot yesterday.
His father.
Hearing. Yes. So, like, we're asking that you hold it with no bond.
Yo, if in hindsight you see his father mentality, oh, you mess with me, now you take one of mine, I'm gonna take one of yours. You don't think that son was ready to fire if he had even half of his father's mentality? Come on.
Right now until the hearing on the 6th, to when we will present evidence in order to satisfy the burden of the 2937-222. We're going to be asking to hold them on that point.
So you all will review those statutes. The rules of evidence won't apply
yes, Your Honor.
In that hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the court will now set no bond until Tuesday when we'll review the statute for
this what y'all talking about on social media? I seen this part on social media. This what y'all talking about? Well, y'all talking about something, he kept his head up, black man. I seen some posts on Facebook. Are y'all crazy? Y'all the fucking problem. Are y'all crazy? Both him and his son should be under the fucking prison. Are you crazy?
Continuing no bond under these unusual and very tragic and terrible circumstances. Where will the defendant be housed, and will he be safe? And I ask that because he was transferred, as I understand it, to Clermont County yesterday. That's correct. On my order. That's correct. And will he be?
He's scared. He wonder what prison he will go to. He's scared.
Return to Clermont County until Tuesday.
It's our understanding he will be returned to Clermont.
And you have a safe environment for him there in Clermont County. You'll return him on Tuesday, May the 6th at 8:30 a.m. for a hearing at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, we'd ask the court to put a bond on him now, but we understand that it's not a bond.
All right, no bond.
Thank you.
Thank you. we can hold them.
Here's what we learned from court earlier this morning after that tense appearance, surrounded by dozens of deputies inside and outside the courtroom. We're learning more details from the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office about what's now being called a deliberate attack. Prosecutors say witnesses.
Yes, this was a deliberate attack. Are y'all crazy? Please tell me it's sensible people. I know we got about 1,000 subscribers right now in the cave, and we here to speak the truth about every situation, unbiasedly. Let's be elevated people. Let's be educated people. Let's be upstanding members of the community. These people crazy. The father and the son was crazy. And that don't mean he deserved to die, the son. But they should have both been in jail.
Watched Hinton stop his car outside of graduation ceremonies for students at the University of Cincinnati, then rammed the recently retired deputy who was outside his vehicle conducting traffic.
He wasn't even a police officer. You telling me he was raising his head high? This is the pillar of the community that y'all want to die on? Nah. Nah. I refuse to believe that the smart, educated black Americans, the majority of us, don't see this as a good response to the police killing your son, who was running from police, from a stolen vehicle, with stolen guns, multiple of them, fell, still held the gun, and ran through. No. I refuse to. I rebuke you in the name of God. No.
Ultimately ending his life. Now, the defense explained that this has been an emotionally charged week for Hinton after his son was killed by that Cincinnati police officer on Thursday. Meanwhile, Hinton is going to be held at the
But it wasn't the one he killed.
Claremont County Jail by the judge's order for his safety until a no bond appearance is set to determine whether or not he'll be
was affected by the story we just talked about. I'm not here to blame, I'm just here to present the facts. But God knows I can't fathom losing my son. And I'm sure as many others that's listening to this story can agree with me. So none of us truly know how we will react. I'm praying for everyone in this story. It's time for you guys to talk to me in the comments. Fam, this was the story of a Cincinnati man who took matters into his own hands by taking the life of an officer after his son was killed less than 24 hours prior by the
Nah, I can't get jiggy with that. I can't get jiggy with that one. Your son did that. He ain't just died because he was walking down the street and the police racially profiled him. He died because he ran from police with a gun. Nah, please be in the comments. Let me know. Am I right? Come on, we still gotta have common sense in America if we're gonna get through these tariffs and get our country back and be self-sufficient, sort of like, they put the Great Wall of China and they went to isolationism. We need to do that in America and make America for Americans and welcome everybody else. But we got to be honest with ourselves to do that. We need to be in a space race. Amazon need to be putting houses on the moon and Tesla need to be taking us to it. We can't be thinking like this. There's no hope for we got to get the gangbangers out of our community. And, Whack 100 facing a RICO. He about to get himself a RICO. So it's going to be Whack and Big U, figures like that. We got to get hip-hop back on track to the J. Cole's and the Kendrick Lamar type rap, but a little bit of Drake. The drill rappers going to jail. You see Lil Durk and all of them. They going to get theirs. Young Thug going to end up back in prison. He going to violate. This cannot be what we looking up to. He was angry and he responded like a woman. Your son was running with a gun and wouldn't even put the gun down after he fell. What do you think he was going to do eventually when he was caught? You think they were going to tackle him with a gun? Come on. Let me know what y'all think, Cave Dwellers. We got to do better than this. Come on. Y'all with me. Y'all got to be with me. Y'all got to be with me, my people. Let me know in the comment, like, share, subscribe, all that. Peace.